Hey guys, Joe here. Welcome to another video, and welcome to what is pretty much the follow-up video for my combo video. There are things that I wanted to talk about in that video, either at the beginning or the end, and I didn't decide to go through with that, so I'm making a separate video to go over that. Which, by the way, thank you to all of those who've been watching the video. I hope you continue to watch it and enjoy it. And hopefully, maybe that video eventually gets a bigger audience, who knows. But anyways, today I want to talk about three things. The first, and probably the smallest detail, is the multiple ways to end Crusher Ball combos. And the second, the other two being the bigger ones, which are what characters and assists can, fill the role of Super Saiyan Goku and Tien in my combo videos. So, with that all said and done, let's get right into it. First, let's talk about the Crusher Ball enders. Now, there are 3 total enders, but one of them is very specific to a specific scenario, that being with Ginyu being in the corner after a Crusher Ball. So, before I get into that, I first want to talk about all the enders that Ginyu can do when he's outside of the corner after a Crusher Ball. The first of which being a simple jumping dragon rush, which looks like this. It's nothing too terribly flashy. It's a simple case of just getting the timing right, which isn't too hard to do, thankfully. But it's a jumping dragon rush. It grants you a sliding knockdown, which not only allows you to keep the opponent in the corner, but also allows you to set up for pressure, which Ginyu has very good pressure, by the way. Now, the second ender you could do, and the only other one you can do with Ginyu outside of the corner, is, as you saw in the combo video, the assist into Goldo 5S extension, which looks like this. Now, as you can see, this does ultimately result in more damage, but it can also result in more meter. And considering I'm using Tien's B assist, which does just so happen to have the ability to build just a smidgen of meter, even that little bit can mean a lot. And of course, obviously, Ginyu summons can build meter, so that's just a whole ton of meter build for you at your disposal. Now, yes, that does mean you are basically spending one of your resources, but if you believe it to be worth it, go for it. And in the case of Tien's B assist, which, like I said, can build a small amount of meter, it can be worth it at points. Not all the time, but sometimes. So that pretty much covers the only 2 enders that Ginyu has outside of the corner. Now let's talk about the enders he has when he's in the corner. So let's get to it. In regards to Ginyu's enders when he's in the corner, there are 3 total. And I'm going to cover all of them right now, starting with the Jumping Dragon Rush. As you can see, like I said before, nothing too crazy. But it does mean that your opponent is now outside of the corner and able to, gain their bearings. So, just be wary of what they do next. All I'll say. Next, we have the Assistant to Goldo 5S extension, which you've also seen in the combo video, which looks like this. I'm sure you're familiar with that ender. I've used it in a pretty decent amount of combos in that video. But yeah, the way that works is, and it only really works with Tien's B assist, it freezes the opponent in place, and when it does, you do the dash input, which is 6-6, and then once you've turned around and are facing the opponent and are facing the corner, you immediately do Goldo 5S and then go in for a Jumping Dragon Rush. And the beautiful thing about this combo, small combo extender and ender, is that not only do you gain meter from it, but you don't have to spend bar to keep the opponent in the corner, which is brilliant. But then there's the last combo ender that I want to talk about. And this one, while it does require meter to keep the opponent in the corner by using Vanish, at least you get to keep your assists and as a resource, and you don't have to spend them. And that third ender that I've been talking about looks like this. Now, that third ender you just saw is a small combo extension. Very small, but it requires you to do Jumping Light, Jumping Medium, and one of 3 different moves into Vanish and then Jumping Dragon Rush. This will not only guarantee you that you keep the opponent in the corner, but that you get a sliding knockdown, as well as a little more damage. Again, this does cost 1 full bar to do, but I say it's worth it. Especially if you're willing to take the risk and you've got enough bar on you to take that risk. And there's multiple ways to go about doing this ender. You could do both hits of the Jumping Light. You could do the full air auto combo. You could use the Jumping 236L, aka the shoulder tackle in the air, the light shoulder tackle in the air, which is what I did. Or you could do J2H, which is that upward kick. Let me show you what all of these scenarios look like. Now, I'm going to have to do just to get them in the air and to kind of show you. This, I wouldn't recommend doing this after a Crusher Ball, because the opponent's going to bounce off the ground. They'll already be in the air, so you're better off just starting off, hitting them in the air, like I showed you. Now, there are a multitude of ways to do this. Like I said, you could do 1 hit of the Jumping Light, or you could do 2. Personally, I like to do 1 just because hit stun decay can be a bit of a bitch sometimes, and it's just for safekeeping. So, there are 3 ways you could go about this. The first one I already showed you, which is doing the light shoulder tackle in the air. The second one is doing the full air auto combo, which looks like this. Now, in that case, you don't get a sliding knockdown. So you gotta immediately act with a super. Or, if you want, you can immediately pull out a summon and take a huge risk, a huge gamble on your head. If you don't want to spend the resources, just go for a summon and hope for the best. If you are willing to spend the resources, you're probably better off for it. Best thing I could recommend is either a level 3 if you've got the meter, or a level 2, again, if you've got the meter. Because with a level 2, you'll be able to special cancel out of it into one of the summons and set up for pressure. If you have a level 3, you'll be able to get level 3 mix out of it. So just keep that in mind. And then there's the last ender. There's the last thing you can do, which is the J2H, which looks like this. You obviously send the opponent higher in the air, and you take longer to get back down to the ground, but you are still guaranteed, to send the opponent back into the corner and get a sliding knockdown with the Jumping Dragon Rush. And with that, that is all 3 of the enders that you can do in the corner. And with that now said and done, we have covered all the the Crusher Ball combo enders. Not just corner Crusher Ball combo enders. These can be used mid-screen too. These can very much be used mid-screen as well. All 3 of them. Just in case you were aware, and I do mean fully mid-screen. Just saying. Just figured I'd bring that up. But with that said and done, now we can get on to the next section. Let's get to it. Now let's talk about every character and their respective assist that can be used to fill the role that Super Saiyan Goku does. And I want to make this very clear, Super Saiyan Goku plays a massive, and I do mean massive, role in almost every combo in that video. He is the lifeblood of most of those combos thanks to his A assist. And to help demonstrate which characters and respective assists and their respective assists can be utilized in these combos, I'm going to use one combo as a demonstrator. That being the first combo of the combo video, which looked something like this. Now the way you just saw me do that combo, that is the exact way I'm going to do it. And I'm only going to be using one assist because I want you to focus solely on that specific assist. And I'll be doing the same thing when I get to Tien. So, you know, no royalties there. But anyways, with that said and done, let's get into pretty much every character, and there's not a lot of them, but there are a pretty decent number of them, that can fill Super Saiyan Goku's role. And actually, before we even get to any of the other ones, which will be done through a, montage with no commentary, I do want to talk about Tien's B assist, which, if you can believe me, actually can be used in this combo. And I'm about to show you how. Watch this. Just like that. And, of course, like I said, because Tien's B assist builds a little more meter, this combo ultimately builds a little more meter compared to the one with Super Saiyan Goku's assist, so there's that benefit. But, with that said and done, let's get on to the montage of every other character in the game that can be used to do this combo. Let's get to it. Oh! And just keep an eye out for every character that pops up in Super Saiyan Goku's place. That'll show you which characters can do it. So, pay attention. Alright? I'll see you in a minute. So now that we've covered all of the characters and their respective assists that can fill Super Saiyan Goku's role, it's about time we talk about all the characters and their respective assists that could do the same in Tien's position. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me use a simple corner combo, which I'll be using as the demonstration for every single assist I display, to show you what I mean. That is what I mean. That is the role Tien plays. Holding the opponent in place after a Crusher Ball and allowing Guldo to connect a hit and then go for a Jumping Dragon Rush. I've talked about that specific extension and ender in a previous section of the video, and this entire section of the video is going to be about every single assist in the game aside from Tien's V assist that can do that. And believe me or not, all of the assists I just displayed in the previous section, when I was talking about the characters and their respective assists that can fill Super Saiyan Goku's role, yeah, every single character and their respective assist can do the same thing and use their assist to help fill in Tien's role. And you're going to see that during the montage. And yes, there will be another montage with no commentary going over every single assist in the game that can do that. So, I'm not going to waste any more of your time, but I will say this. Every single character that you see, pay attention to Tien's spot on the team, and you'll see every character and which assist they're using. So, again, like I said before, pay attention. Alright? Alright. I'll see you in a bit. And you might want to grab some popcorn for this, because this is going to be a long one. I'll see you in a bit, like I said.